I'm Ruben, and I'm the Managing Director of Smudge. Smudge is a software development firm that helps people solve problems in their business with custom software. We've created this series to help customers learn more about the software development process and the key things that set development projects up for success. In this episode, I'm talking to Chris Brown, one of our team leads at Smudge. Chris leads the development work that we do with New Zealand Police. We started working with police in 2013 and enjoy working with them to solve really interesting problems in frontline policing. So I think maybe a great place to start would just be a little bit about your early childhood, kind of your backgrounds. Where did you grow up? What did that look like? Be keen to hear what that was for you.
Sure. I've been in New Zealand 20 years, but I grew up in the UK, the south coast, Southampton. Most of my family are from Southampton. Got family in Scotland and Wales as well. Had a really great childhood. Really enjoyed it growing up in the 80s. I think I look back now and think the 80s was pretty cool. It's cool TV shows. A-Team, Knight Rider, those kind of things. I guess I've always had a bit of an interest in technology, but I studied geography at university, which was really good, really enjoyed that, enjoyed being outside. And I think geographers regarded as being quite multi-skilled utility players, and I like that image.
So, just touching on technology and the geography, when did you very first think or start to be interested in technology?
I always had an interest in technology. I was looking to study at uni, but there was a particular qualification that I hadn't chosen to do, which you needed to go and study kind of things like computer science and so on. So I ended up doing geography just because I really enjoyed it. And probably the irony is now, all these years later, I'm in the industry I'm in without that qualification. So it just goes to show you, don't be put off by, if you want to do something, just do it. Don't be put off by not having a qualification or something. But I don't regret doing geography. It was really good. I really enjoyed it at uni. So yeah, and then I kind of just fell into IT.
So Smudge, you've been working at Smudge now for over 10 years, just recently celebrated 10 years. Mm. It's a pretty significant commitment to a company that's been around for 15. Yes. How did you get started here? And first of all, congratulations on 10 years. And thank you for your commitment and just presence that you bring to the company. How did you get started at Smudge, and what's kept you here for 10 years?
In terms of starting here, I started as a developer, going from tech support. All those years ago, I moved quite quickly into development, despite, again, not really, I haven't done a computer science degree or software engineering or anything like that. But I enjoyed development, enjoyed solving problems in that regard. So I started, working in iOS here originally, and over the years worked up to the role that I do now. I think what's kept me here is probably two things. One, I felt the whole time I've been here, I felt that there is a career path for me. There is a road ahead of me that I can go in terms of growing my career and different opportunities. I think that's something that's really important, and I think about it in terms of the people on my team. How am I creating that for them? Because people want, whether they choose to stay or not, and we've had one or two people recently move overseas and so on, which is great. But while people are here, do they feel like if they want to stay here for 10 years or 15 or 20, is there a path forward for them? So I think that's kept me here. And the other aspect to it is I have learned quite a lot. I think over the years, I know we do talk about that a lot here, but I've learned a lot from a number of people, yourself included, that also things that I've taken across into my non-professional, my personal life, which I've applied outside of work. So they're probably the two main things that have kept me here.
I really like the idea of thinking about, and I know because we have these discussions together, but very genuine about thinking about each individual team member and what their own needs are in terms of their own career growth, rather than just going, here's a approach that we're going to apply to everyone in the same way. In terms of day-to-day challenges that you have, things that you work through, what would be one of the things that we care about at Smudge is trying to get to a balance. So we think about technology, think about the usability, think about the commercial constraints we're working in. What are some of your day-to-day challenges in terms of trying to achieve balance in those areas?
Well, when you ask me that, there's two things that come to mind in terms of day-to-day challenges, and one of them is that in its entirety. How do I balance the usability, feasibility, and viability, so that, the user, the technology, and the business across a range of projects for the customer, for the customer that my team predominantly work with. How do we balance all those things in? And the second part of that is in a very dynamic environment, things changing really quickly, priorities changing, technology constraints, we're trying to balance that with usability, all those kind of things. So I think it's trying to keep balance in a very dynamic environment are probably the biggest challenges. And also for my role specifically, there's lots of facets to it. That's probably the other thing. So leading the team, looking after welfare of the team, thinking about the delivery of the projects, maintaining that partnership with the customer, working with them on the strategy, looking at sort of the business development, where we want to go with them, the kind of things we want to do down the line, evaluating new technologies. So trying to balance all those facets and maintain the balance in terms of what we're delivering and ensuring that we're getting the outcomes that the organisation want, the customer wants, solving problems for them with the constraints, if there are any, of technology, but also then maintaining that really great user experience. So that's just a constant dynamic, I wouldn't say battle, challenge, but I quite like that. I like it that it's like that.
I mean, when you're speaking about that, I know that we have those discussions and talk about getting there, but just saying it in one go, in one or two sentences, sounds like that is a lot to have in your brain at any one time of thinking about.
Yes.
So what are the points that, and I think this is the thing that's so tricky about balance, is there's just a lot of different elements that are there. And, when one is, being more focused on than another, it can be at the expense of how do you make sure do you have a practice, or do you go to, where do you get clarity on where the balance is?
The reality is sometimes you have to become imbalanced at times. You aspire to get that perfect balance. So, for example, working with New Zealand Police, we could have a law change or legislation change that then involves us making a change in one of the products at a very short delivery timeline, and therefore we might have to compromise the perfect technical solution to deliver that in time because we've got hard deadline for something. So in that situation, we might be a little imbalanced because we've had to lean towards that business aspect to get that problem solved. But then down the line, we'd look at restoring balance by maybe reviewing that solution to improve that usability or take a slightly better technical approach. So I think I just think of it on a case-by-case basis, depending on the situation. But we're just always as a team, trying to aspire to get that perfect balance the whole time. But it's not always achievable, and you have to be okay. You have to be okay with that.
Yeah. I think that leads really nicely into how we think about partnership. And I think partnership with just anybody we're working with, whether it's a customer, a supplier, other people in our team, there's just a dance, it's a real two-way street around trying to get to a really good outcome. Yeah, specifically with New Zealand Police, what does being a partner look like to you?
I think, for me, there's a huge difference between, say, a vendor and a partner. I definitely think of it with all the customers. We're trying to approach it as a partnership, and you touched on it before. It's a two-way street. If you've got a customer that really wants to work as a partner, I think overall you're going to get far better outcomes in terms of what they want to achieve, business outcomes, great user experience, finding that balance with technology. And maybe, for example, we're dealing with legacy systems, and therefore we need to work around that. I think for a partnership, for me, in terms of my approach, it is not just for me, but for everyone on the team. It's spending time with the customer, understanding their organisation or their business, understanding their users, spending time with their users, like with police, for example. As you know, the team go on ride-alongs with police. We visit police stations. We talk with the team, with the people there, in lots of different roles within police. We talk to them about new features of products we're developing, get their input, those kind of things, understand the sort of problems they face, understand how they might approach things. Some of the team have even gone up to the police training college, and run through mock scenarios, which the recruits go through as part of their training. So running through mock scenarios in a dedicated environment there and using our solutions at the same time to really understand what it's like as best they can to be in that kind of situation as a frontline police officer. So I think to create a partnership, you've got to be spending time and build that trust, understand what the ultimate goal of the organisation is with police. It's to be their ultimate vision is to be the safest country. So what are we doing in terms of supporting that? So that would even trickle down to someone on my team writing a function within a piece of code, a function for a feature, for a project, to support an initiative to help make roads safer for New Zealanders, whatever it may be. So really, they need to really understand how what they're doing ties into that bigger vision to be the safest country. Yeah,
I think that's one of the things that can be so easy when you're building software to get lost, that you think, oh, well, we just do it at a strategic level. We're just going to do this thing. Just pass it down. Someone can work it out. But in practice, you make so many small decisions that really do make an impact towards the larger goal, that knowing and understanding why you're doing it and for what reasons helps you
100%.
Make those decisions. Because there's we both have a programming background, and when you're doing programming, how many tiny little decisions there are to make, and every single thing that you do, they have some kind of either a cost penalty from a speed or a performance, and working out, well, how do you make the right decisions in that space? And so I think, when we talk about intention, and I think you summed up there, it's actually, I know that this feature I'm writing, this particular function, that's helping towards this organizational goal by doing this. And so I'm going to make good quality decisions because I know and understand the context of why I'm doing this.
Yes, and I think, I completely agree. I think as well, it's very easy as a developer to be focused mainly on the technology and then the usability. So actually getting people to think about that business aspect, why are we doing this, is super important. Now I really make an effort to ensure everyone on my team understands that is why that is, because it will have an impact on the way you approach things. But also, again, everyone, not just me, everyone on the team is trying to balance the perfect, and one of the guys on my team, we talk about this a lot, there is the perfect technical solution if we had all the time in the world, but we're balancing that around, we're not compromising. We want something that's reliable and performant and robust, but we're balancing that with delivery, and actually in some cases maybe for a better user experience we're taking a slightly different approach in terms of the way the technology is implemented. It's very nuanced, but I think it's always probably the hardest to get people to think about that business aspect. But when they do, I definitely think over time our customers get a better solution, a better outcome for it, because we understand that we're not just concerned with churning out code, which isn't what it's about.
Yeah, I think it's so easy as a developer to get into this mindset or this track where you go, oh, I tick my box, I'm done, I did a good job. And when you take that extra extension, you say, no, this only works when the user, the end user, we've solved the problem for them. It puts more into the scope, which makes it more complex. But you can't just turn around and go, oh, my function works every single time, it returns the same result and it was what was expected. But actually you give it to someone, they start using it, and they don't understand how it's supposed to work or where it fits in, then we haven't done our jobs well.
No, and also we've got to, if we take some of the solutions we work on with New Zealand Police, one of them is, I think 10 years old now. It's building things, some of the projects we have ongoing. We're also trying to factor in building something that might still be in use and developed and being added to 10 years from now. So we're trying to build things in a way where, with that in mind, in the back of our minds, how do we, is this sustainable? Are we going to be able to extend this moving forward? So again, that's part of the balance, isn't it?
Definitely. So just to finish up, thinking about in terms of technologies that you're seeing at the moment, is there anything that you're seeing that you think people aren't taking enough notice of, or things that people are spending way too much time thinking about that you don't see as being that important?
We have to be really careful that sometimes there's not always a technical, whether it's a new technology or not, there's not always a technical, the problem isn't necessarily always solved by technology. And we talk about that a lot. It's something we should consider all the time. In terms of technologies that are coming along, I know the way I tend to think of it more is I've probably got more problems I'd like to solve, whether they're problems for a customer or problems in my life that I look, and if a technology comes out, I might look at adopting, or I think, oh, that might be useful, rather than just getting really excited at these technologies and then going, oh, what problem can I find to solve with this? I think, obviously at the moment with AI, there's a lot of noise around that. I think we just have to be careful with that. I think it's really important. I don't want to be seen to be adopting it just for the sake of adopting it, unless there's a genuine use case with any of our customers, or even personally. I tend to get more excited about things, that new technology that comes along, that I think, oh, that'll have even if it's something really simple, I think, oh, that'll be really useful for me every day. It might just solve a little problem for me every single day in my life. That'll be really cool. So I guess it's each their own, but I think there's those 2 points. So yes, it's not always a technical problem, and we just have to be cautious about jumping on new technologies when they come along, especially if it's just for the sake of it. I think we do a good job of looking into them and thinking, hey, maybe we could use this. Maybe there's this problem we've had for a while here, and this might be to solve it. In some cases, yes, some cases, no. And communicating that with our customers if we think the answer is yes. Does that answer your question? Yes. I'm trying to think of a good... Yeah, I think AI is a good one. The Vision Pro, that's getting a lot of attention at the moment. Really cool. Had to play around with it, but I don't know if there's immediate use for me every day that I get from it. But it's not to say, it's early days. We'll see where that goes. It's very exciting. It's an amazing piece of technology.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I think hopefully this will be useful for people, and we'll do another one soon.
Sounds good. Good to talk to you. Thanks, Ruben.
Thanks. Thank you for watching. We really hope that you got something out of this conversation. If you have any questions that have come up, please reach out on our website, smudge.com.